My name's Chris.
And I'm Kristie.
This is the Washing Up Podcast, and it's Great Canadian Bake Off, and it's Bread Week.
Woo, love bread.
Yeah, we love bread. We're big fans of bread.
We're
Carbs.
We're bandits for bread. Bread bandits.
We're crazy for carbs. So this is,
We're
obviously...
gorgeous for gluten.
We are... Oh... Aren't we gorgeous for gluten?
Yes.
Anyway, so obviously Great Canadian Bake Off. We did say we'd make that very plain at the start of each show. Thank you for everyone, by the way, who's listened to our first episode of Australian Bake Off.
Oh, that was just so happy to be back.
It's a double whammy now because we've got two lots of happiness. Isn't it amazing?
I know, it's like 2 bake-offs for the price of 2.
Exactly. 2 bake-offs for
no sale
the price of 2.
Full price.
And we're charging you, the audience at home, the exact same for the podcast.
Yep.
So,
double the free.
Bargain. Obviously, this one is a little bit delayed.
So my darling mother, who I refer to in her many adventures of blowing things up in the kitchen and such, has recently had some pretty bad issues with her kidney, with a great big tumour deciding to... Well, we didn't realise how big it was.
It's huge.
And it's much as it was. So Friday, we were up her way, hanging out as she was getting operated on. So it went for far longer than we anticipated. A 2-hour surgery turned into 4.5 to 5 hours. So you can imagine that it was quite a big day, and just not in the mindset to really...
We did, by the way, watch the episode.
We did. That was my kind of relax, happy point.
I wrote some amazing notes on a notepad from the hotel we were staying in.
Exactly.
Which I then had to type out tonight because there is no chance I could... I'm sitting there going, F... What does F mean? And we're sitting there and I'm talking and suddenly out of nowhere I go, flavour.
If you weren't a teacher, you'd make a very fine doctor.
I would. I've been told that I should have been a doctor, not for my medical skills.
No, just for
but
your
simply my handwriting is medical grade.
Yes. So I'm sure you'll all join me in wishing my mum a speedy recovery as she...
Indeed we do.
Yes.
We all
love you, Alice.
We all wish Alice a speedy recovery, and hopefully you're fit enough and healthy enough soon to not be in the kitchen cooking, because...
Oh, she still owes you a duck. You're the only son-in-law she's not cooked a duck for.
No, the last time she tried to cook me something, I finished the pork myself.
Oh, she could make you her special stroganoff.
We've done that. We're never doing that again. And by the way, I did amazing crackling for Alice and let her take the credit for it. Anyway, so speaking of amazing things, we opened up with Aurora and Carolyn.
Yes.
Throwing bread.
Go long. What does that mean?
I'm not a football person, and I loved the shock on Carolyn's face when she caught the bread. She's like, oh, that was quite good, actually. and this has given me now one of my favourite lines of the Canadian series where Aurora looks at her and goes, I have a healthy regard for bread.
That's going to be a T-shirt.
It should be. If it's not, they
Aurora and Carolyn there, passing bread with I have a healthy regard for bread.
Now, they all walked in and they all started talking about, they're liking bread and stuff like that. Now, Jodie.
Yes.
We need to have a talk, Jodie.
I do love Jodie, so go easy.
Yes, but this is why we have to have a talk.
Okay.
You see, because Jodie, you might be very new to the whole bake-off thing. So let's explain a concept that those of us at home know all too well. And you were lucky.
Oh, yes.
When a week starts...
Oh, don't.
Never
back
say,
away.
This is my week.
Oh, back away from that phrase.
Now, you were very lucky this week. You were very lucky this week that poor old Andrea...
had to return to her mermaid queendom.
Because bread obviously doesn't coat very well in water. It sort of disintegrates, and so she's not used to it.
No.
She's scared of it.
Cake magically lasts in water. Bread, on the other hand, disintegrates and it harms
Cake
stuff.
actually does last longer in water than bread.
Does it?
It does. Bread strands out and it looks... Yeah.
I want to see this scientifically proven.
We will. In a minute I'll go up, I'll fill the bathtub up and I'll throw a loaf of bread in there and I'll throw a cake in there. We'll see what lasts the longest. Cake feels like it's more buoyant.
I really feel like this is going to be a big waste of good cake and good bread.
No. I'll buy bad bread and bad cake, and then I'll waste those.
Okay.
Easy enough to do.
But there was no bad bread in the shed. That would have been a great rhyme. I'll save it for next time.
That was a good rhyme. You just
I'll
did
save it for the Australian.
See this thing with the light on it? That's a live microphone.
Yeah, but it's not the shed. It's the pavilion.
I know.
And nothing rhymes with pavilion.
A billion.
A billion. Oh, okay. All right.
Sort of like you win $1 million, I win $1 billion. Says something about our personality types. So
large
I also
and monstrous.
So Colin as well. Colin would have been the MVP of this week, and obviously he is Star Baker this week, and well done, Colin. I was so happy.
Yeah.
But he would have been MVP of this week if it wasn't for, well, someone we'll get to in a moment. But Colin had another good line at the start when he goes, "Who doesn't love bread?" Well,
possibly
gluten-free people, probably.
People with celiac disease possibly don't like.
And what I love is
I'm glad you were mindful of that, though, Colin.
What I love, though, but the way that he had a look on his face was like, and I don't care for these people.
What kind of people are you?
Frankly,
lovely people like Elena.
It feels, I know, but it feels a little bit, that reaction feels a little bit like when Milhouse's father goes into the cracker factory when he gets a divorce. And he's like, "You're letting me go," and then they turn around and go, "Kirk, we don't know if divorced people eat crackers. Frankly, we don't want to know. It's a market we could do without." It felt a little bit like that. I don't know if there are people that watch Bake Off that don't eat bread. Quite frankly, we don't want to know. It's a market we could do without. So we get to the signature, and it's rare that a signature is met with confusion because, of course, they've had time to practice their signatures. But for Povertizza...
Pervy titza.
Yeah, pervy titza.
Pervy titza.
Yes. Povertizza to not...
Penis titza.
So that I'm not culturally insensitive, Povertizza, or pervy titza, as you so rightly put it as well. Now, it's a bread.
It is a bread.
It's a twisted bread.
Yes.
It is a twisted and a rolled bread.
With filling.
With filling, and it is usually braided together unless you're Jodie and decide to do it in a round pan.
Ooh, yeah, she swirled it together.
It didn't quite work.
She twirled it.
Twirling towards freedom.
Yes.
So what I love about this was we got the start of, well, realistically, there was only one person that you should care about in this episode, and it wasn't Colin.
We care about Colin.
And it wasn't Andrea. No,
we care about Andrea.
We care deeply about Liam in this episode.
Yeah, that's the person we're watching this episode. Because
this episode, look, Colin will have many more of these episodes, I'm fairly sure. And Andrea has had a really good run at the start.
Yes.
But this was Liam's party.
Oh, this is all about the Liam tonight. I agree wholeheartedly.
So there's a question that I had originally framed for the end of the podcast.
The woodland fawn.
But I feel like we need to ask the question now. I feel like we need to ask the question now.
Asking me a question. So yes, go ahead.
So this is actually, I'm asking you a question that you came up with.
Oh, okay.
So the question that you came up with, which I'll now ask you.
Yes.
Is Liam, in this episode, the living embodiment of the film Big?
He totally feels like a 9-year-old.
I wish I was Baker.
Yeah. I wish I was a big baker. I can actually hold the hot stuff, and Mum will let me use the knife.
So he opened up with going Povertizza, and all these people are like, "Oh, what the hell? I don't know." And Liam goes, "It's just bread." And that was the least overboard thing that he said all night.
But I really feel like if Andrea had a bit of Liam's attitude, it's just bread.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. She's got a phobia of bread, apparently. I wonder if there is an official term for that.
It's probably a mortal enemy of, people in the mermaid queendom.
The mermaid queendom have a mortal enemy in bread.
Yes. They're gluten intolerant, not because they, get injured by it or become sick by it. They're just intolerant of gluten.
Okay, so there is actually a fear of bread.
No! What is it? So the mermaid queendom is plagued by...
Cybophobia.
Is it cybophobia or kibophobia?
Probably kibophobia. Although it's from...
Or is it chibophobia?
No, it might be cybophobia, and the reason is because to sound a little bit like My Big Fat Greek Wedding, is from the Greek citros, which means bread, and phobos, which means fear.
Yeah.
Put some Windex on it.
Oh, I have to hit Pabs up because it's kibos. Kibophobia. It has to be. I think it's a hard C.
But it's kibophobia or siltophobia. So that's why I've gone.
The Sybil.
Yes. Oh. Look at this. This is exactly
what I should know this. I'd have to brush up on my Greek.
This is what you tune into us for, by the way. It's for language derivatives. That's what we're here for. We are a language derivative podcast. Glad you enjoyed it. But as
We're
Liam
all
said,
about etymology here at the washing.
but as Liam said, just bread. So Chris opened up with his Chinese-inspired bread.
Yes.
Now, he did black sesame.
Yum.
Good. And taro.
Which, okay, if you're keeping a list of things that Chris just really doesn't find pleasant, under beetroot and matcha and yuzu.
I know I like yuzu, remember, it's just it's overused.
Okay, whack down taro because...
Now, except, before you throw me under this semi-trailer, what are your views on taro?
Oh, it's terrible.
It's horrendous. It's at the end when they said it was pasty, and I went, yeah.
Of course it is.
It's taro.
Yeah.
I've said to a group of the kids who are of Polynesian background, I'm like, I hate taro. It's like a chair leg. And they keep trying to convince me I just have never had it prepared properly. I disagree. I think it's horrendous. I don't see a purpose to it.
Well, we'll have to see if there's a tarophobia.
By the way, the judges...
Probably just called tarophobia.
Yeah, but by the way, the judges completely agreed with me and went, that taro wasn't very good. Now we go back to Liam, because everything needs to cut back to Liam in this episode.
Back to Liam. He's awesome.
Back to Liam, who points out that his starter is called Petunia.
Oh, that's right, his sourdough starter. It's called Petunia. She's 24.
Yep.
And she's older than Jasmine.
Exactly.
I just think adorable.
Absolutely adorbs.
Yeah.
So, Colin was doing a spiced...
I wonder if she keeps her, wizarding nephew starter in a cupboard under the stairs.
I can only assume.
With her spoilt son starter.
Running around just
Dudley.
banging on it.
Yes.
Yeah. So Colin made a spiced chai. Now, that one's simple, but when they get to the judging, as they said, it was simple, but it was bloody good.
Yep.
And that's something we've talked about a bit on the podcast over the years, which is that simple but really well done can get you a long way.
Yeah. Beautifully done.
Jasmine's got a lot going on in hers.
Yes.
Spumoni.
Marge, we're out of chocolate.
Marge, we may need more chocolate, strawberry, vanilla ice cream. Now, spumoni,
yes.
not spumoni.
Or spumanti.
Yeah, spumanti, yes.
Yeah.
Pistachio and maraschino cherry and chocolate.
Yum. I'm there for it.
Well, I'm there too. And what I really liked about this too was when Bruno came over and asked her about influences, and she went, I like Italian cooking, and Bruno just looked at her indignant and gone, what about French?
You think she'd just gone, I really hate the French. That's not what I like Italian means, but perhaps to the French, that's what it means.
100% that's what it means.
They're just on the border there.
There's a bit of a World War II vibe going on.
Yeah.
Yes, Italy was useless during World War II, but they were still on the wrong side of it. So Natalia went with a mango and hazelnut flavour. But then that didn't really matter because we cut back to the Liam show.
Oh, what a delight it was.
And there's a phrase that you don't often expect to hear in Bread Week.
It's the I've slept.
No, not yet. That was much later on.
Oh, that's right.
This was Aurora walking up to Liam and simply saying, Liam, is that raw meat?
Yes.
Yeah, and Liam goes, yes. Yes, it is raw meat. In fact, it was raw chicken. He was using raw chicken mince because he was the only person going savoury because... Of course he was.
And churning his own butter.
He was churning his own butter, which was... I was impressed and disappointed.
I think he couldn't fit his actual butter churner.
Yeah, where was the butter churner? Look, if you're going to churn your own butter, I want a full churner.
Look, he usually does, but he couldn't fit it in his luggage. He had a weight limit.
I've seen Eurovision. I saw those Polish butter churners.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the budget of a Eurovision entrant to bring a butter churner into the pavilion,
or the cleavage of those Polish women churning the butter in the first place.
And he's got a 22 kilo limit for the aeroplane.
I'm sure CBC could help him out.
Actually, I don't think he'd arrive in an aeroplane. He's a woodland nymph. I think he'd just skip
a horseback.
Horseback?
No, but surely, because he's a woodland nymph, but he's also a wilderness person. Mooseback, yes, 100%.
He's coming in on a moose.
I actually suspect that scene that they shot, the one they shot of his little bio bit, where he's sitting with his friends around the campfire, I'm pretty sure the camera crew went, do you want to lift back to town? He went, no, I'm fine, and got on the back of a moose. And
his
then
friendly
went directly...
friend Moose that he talks to.
His friendly friend Moose?
Yeah.
His friendly friend Moose.
Yeah.
I like his friendly friend Moose. So he was the only one who went savoury, and he went with Ethiopian chicken.
I'm down for that. Good
Aren't
work,
we all?
Liam.
Now, I loved when they asked him about how he makes butter, and his response was, I just get a whipping, and then it's butter.
Minute after minute, hour after hour.
Raised a bun on Monday, soon I'll raise another. Then he assaulted the pavilion.
He did.
Literally. As they're walking past and suddenly you hear, oh, whoops, and the entire thing assault.
Flops off his bench.
And they're just picking it up and throwing it over their shoulders, going,
well done, Carolyn. Just get in there with the superstitious, curse breaking. Love it.
So Jodie decided to do chocolate and raspberry with almonds.
Yep.
And yeah, as we said, she attempted to go round, not the normal shape. Now, the reason why, as they said later on, when Kyla was judging it, she said the reason why you don't go round is because of the way the heat radiates. And
look, I'm down for a round pan because I was a fan of the round window in play school, which I don't think you got in Canada, but that doesn't matter. It was a kids' show, and they did a special thing, and you got to look through one of the windows. You could either pick the square window, the round window, or the arch window. Big fan of the arch window. Not so much of the square window. Unfortunately, they went for the square window quite a lot, which I thought was quite boring.
Yeah, and again, Canadian listeners, you're not going to understand this, but which form of calendar were you a fan of?
Oh, rocket ship.
See, I was the one where they pulled the ball at the top and it went down and knocked everything down and eventually pulled up Thursday.
Oh, okay.
That was really cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, It was brilliant. It was like a perpetual motion machine. It was great.
Okay.
It was one of my favourites.
Not a fan of the flower clock. I thought that sucked.
No, the rocket clock was better than the flower clock.
100%. Oh, yeah.
Canadians, I'll put some clips up on the page. So, Andrea decided that we were going to get a bit saucy, a bit salty. And we're going to and you know how she did that?
By bringing out her mermaid magic.
Mocha Coca Loco Povertizza Creole Lady Andrea.
Dun, no. Rainbow Lady, Rainbow Mermaid Lady.
Andrea. And just go okay, it's right there.
Rainbow Lady, Andrea, Mermaid Lady, Andrea. We'll get this right.
We're going to workshop it.
We're going to take it back to the studio, remix it.
I'll make some
Fatboy Slim on it.
I'll make some phone calls to Fatboy Slim.
Excellent.
All right. You call Jay-Z.
Jay-Z, yeah.
You got Jay-Z's number, don't you?
Yeah, I do, totally.
Yeah, we'll get on that. Right, we're going to
keep Kanye way out of it.
Oh, we don't want Kanye way near it.
No. Maybe some Jack White action.
Look, always Jack White action. I don't think about the guitar riffs over the top. That's
absolutely.
Great.
Maybe a bit of John Farnham as well.
They don't have any idea who John Farnham is in Canada. Actually, he got to number 5 in Canada.
He did.
Yeah. You know who went to number 1 in Canada, by the way? Mental as Anything.
Of course, they're awesome.
Yeah, but
I went to school with people who went to school with I think it's one of the guys from Mental as Anything. Who's the one who did the Mambo shirts?
Reg Mombasa.
Yes, his son.
Okay.
Yeah, because he would walk past our school and all the girls would be like, "That's Darcy."
I saw them at the uni bar. I saw them at my uni bar. They got paid in beer. Anyway, we then got what I referred to as the magician roll.
Yes.
Now this is where we rolled up, and I think it was Jay who rolled it.
Yes.
And everyone else is painstakingly hand rolling this damn thing.
Yeah.
And Jay just picks up the towel and goes, whoop, and the thing just rolls itself up. And at that moment, Jay, I could not have been more impressed by a baker.
No, it was totally awesome. I was waiting for you then to just pop it down, put the good crystal on it, just whip out the towel after it,
pull it out under it, and there we go, and it's still standing.
Yes.
Now, what I was really fascinated,
replete with the rose in the vase.
What I was fascinated by though with this one is I know it's a different, it's a cake, not a cake, it's a bread.
Yeah.
But Jay found that really easy to do. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Cut to the week before, and nobody could make the strawberry roulade.
No.
And nobody could roll the strawberry roulade. But yet, by week 3, pull the tea towel, roll itself up.
Yeah, well, you know why? Because he's obviously gone away.
Development of talents.
That's the thing. New skills.
Look,
new skills.
What we're always after is development.
Yeah.
Whether it be in baking technique or the ability to roll something up by pulling a towel.
Or arrested.
Or arrested development, indeed.
I blew myself.
There's always money in the banana stand. All right, and then we come back to Liam, who uttered two phrases. One, and pray. And two, just bake.
I do love his, little things I can imagine him saying it in the forest.
But it was
like he's just skipping around fawn-like with his panpipe. And he comes to a beautiful oak tree and he's like, oh, just pray. And then some beautiful acorns fall to the ground and he plants and goes, just grow.
I'm disappointed that we didn't pick up the big thing earlier, though, because, it all makes sense now when you go back to last week's episode where he started with an affirmation talking himself back in. I can do this. I have done this. I can do this. It's just... How did we not pick this up earlier? Why did it take till week 3 to work it out? At this point, Chris did mitt puppets.
He did. The whimsy was strong in the pavilion tonight.
We talked last week about the spirit of Jude overcoming everybody, and wow, the spirit of Jude. By the way, the good people over there at Proper Television.
Yes.
I hope you're listening to the podcast. I have a bit of a suspicion you are.
We've heard the word whimsy.
The number of times the word whimsy has been mentioned, and I know that Jude brought the original set of whimsy, but we've been carrying on whimsy now for over a year on the podcast, so I hope you're listening, and thank you very much. And please, by all means, drop some other Australian reference in there just to let us know.
Yeah, like Chuzwazza.
No, God, not Chuzwazzas. Not again. Anyway, the other thing that was interesting about this first challenge was where Jodie poured hers out and it split. But her solution was to cover it with a clear glaze.
Yeah, nothing to see here. It's just like it'll bend the light.
That's like a
to
wall.
kind of make it look.
That's
she'll
like
just get the concave correct, so it just bends the light and it looks like it's all one.
That's like a wall cracking and deciding to put clear contact over the top of it.
Again, you bend it in the correct way. The light hits it and there's no crack. Science, Chris.
How much bending are you planning on
science.
doing? How much bending are you planning on doing?
I don't know. It's Jodie's crack.
Jodie, how much bending are you doing when you're... Anyway, moving on. Judging. So, Liam's was rustic but appealing.
Yes.
That's not...
That's Liam all over.
Like, that's just a description of Liam. Rustic but appealing. Like, it's... I failed to see what they were talking about his bake.
They actually didn't get the judging. They just caught the judges talking about Liam.
Now, Natalia did a checkerboard within hers as well, which I didn't mention. And the reason I really didn't mention Natalia's was it was damn near perfect. It's what we're kind of expecting from Natalia. The checkerboard pattern was appealing, and they said it was very good.
Yeah.
Jay, I mean, bread week, man. You were so lucky this week. We love you, and it was terrifying to watch it. Dense, not even, and slightly raw.
Oh,
I love the slightly raw.
Yeah,
too.
just
not raw.
Completely.
Slightly. A little bit raw. Jodie's was underbaked.
Yeah.
And it was underbaked, and it also, as we mentioned, cracked. Although they didn't spot that apparently because they bent light around it.
Yeah, I told you. Science, Chris.
So Jasmine's was dense, but it was a really nice design, but it was also a little bit oversweet. That would have been the strawberry part of the chocolate vanilla strawberry.
Cherry.
No.
It's cherry maraschino cherries.
Yes, but the Simpsons joke is chocolate vanilla and strawberry. Keep up, Stanford.
At some point. I jump on my scooter and keep up.
So Andrea's was nice, but they also said, and somewhat ironically for Andrea, a bit dry. So obviously the mermaid's talents haven't carried over completely because it was dry, not wet.
Oh, I'm just worried that because she's been out of her natural element for so long, like she's just sucking moisture out of the atmosphere.
Maybe she needed to go home because if she didn't go home, there was a chance that she wouldn't survive.
Oh, and she'd go into like mermaid torpor.
Yeah, that's it.
And they'd have to go on a crazy rescue mission to get her back because that's what always happens in mermaid movies.
Yeah, realistically, that's what would exactly happen. And probably Dennis Quaid would be involved in some way,
I've seen Splash.
Form.
I know what goes on.
Yeah. So again, we need to send Dennis Quaid in after
yes.
Colin's...
Isn't that Splash 2?
Electric Boogaloo?
Yes.
By the way...
That would be very hot.
By the way,
water.
every sequel in my eyes is called Electric Boogaloo. After Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo. Colin's was simple but perfect. And Chris's, they said the black sesame was good, but the taro was pasty and lets it down.
Yep.
Now, we got to the technical, but before the technical, they decided that the way they were going to get rid of the judges was with a song. Now, Aurora gave us a lovely solo concert, but my question is...
Yes.
Why no song this week from Polite Disagreement?
Well, obviously, they didn't get the royalties that were needed.
Now,
maybe there's some dispute with payment.
Now, this reminds me of the time...
Exposure can only get you so far.
Yes, don't exchange exposure instead of, like, money.
Yeah.
But this reminds me of the time that I got tickets to the Jacksons. It's a little bit like that. You went expecting a concert from Polite Disagreement. Instead, you got a solo show from Aurora. I got tickets to the Jacksons. I didn't even win them. A neighbour of my uncle won them.
And the
gave them away. My uncle rang me up and said, "Are you interested? Are you doing anything tonight?" I went, "No." He said, "Do you want a bit of a laugh?" I got tickets to the Jacksons. I'm like, hell yeah, I want to see what this audience looks like. Sad is the answer. And
because it was shortly after Michael's death.
It was about 6 months after Michael's death.
Yeah.
Now, couple of things with this. First of all, the opening act was a DJ who was replaced by a second DJ who walked out, pulled out a briefcase and plugged it into a speaker and just hit play and walked away. That was literally what he did. People were thrown out for dancing. What you want in the concert. It wasn't full anyway.
Well, you know.
The set list was so set in its ways that they didn't change it, the order of it, that it was on Wikipedia. And all of the songs people wanted to hear, like all the Jackson 5 stuff, was in a medley.
Of course.
Followed by all their random songs that no one had ever heard of, and we got a Jermaine solo show for the last 45 minutes. And everyone was there to see a dead man. It was great. So it was a bit like that when instead of Polite Disagreement, it was a solo show from Aurora.
Wait, and she's good.
Not disparaging her talent, but I came for Polite Disagreement. I didn't come for the solo show from Aurora. I would have gone to a solo show.
Okay.
I'm not scarred at all.
No, you're not.
By the way, the alcohol I bought one beer.
Why?
I bought one beer for me and one beer for my uncle.
Oh, at the thing.
It cost $15.
Holy shit.
That's why it was horrible. Anyway.
Yeah.
You know what? You know where there wasn't any beer, though?
The pavilion.
In the pavilion, where they did the technical Brioche a tête.
Yes, and the a tête means there's a boob on top.
No, that would be a tit. This is a tête, the head.
But it's French, you know. They go, oh, there are a nice pair of têtes there.
That's not...
Oh, I'm going to squeeze your têtes. It's may I squeeze your têtes?
I was going to say a couple of things there.
Go ahead and squeeze my bountiful têtes.
First of all, disturbing for the audience at home. Second of all...
What?
Second of all, I was going to criticise your ability to understand French, but you are the queen of accents.
I am.
That is a problem.
Not so much languages, but totally
accents you got down. The language, leave a bit to be desired. And third, it was good to see that your French people had consent on the mind.
Yeah.
May I please squeeze your
This isn't the 1970s. There's no carry on Paris.
This isn't 1997.
This isn't carry on up the Eiffel Tower.
Anyway, the more fun part about this brioche à tête is that they got
carry on down the Paris catacombs.
Is that they got no mixer.
Oh look, I've got a bony.
They had to hand make the brioche. 2 hours and 45 minutes to hand make. No bread hook.
No,
you don't get the bread hook on the mixer.
No,
you got to hand make this damn thing. And this continued Liam's Magical Mystery Tour, where they cut to Liam, who goes, "It's just fancy bread."
Do you think those mixers have a union? And they're like, they need one break every episode.
We demand time off. Or it'll be a bit like Free For On Week in Australian last series, where they didn't put butter in there, and then they spent the next whole challenge going, how good is butter? It'll be like, how good are mixers? Aren't the bread hooks on mixers amazing things? So yeah, Liam talked about it's just fancy bread. Again, continuing big. Colin then looked at the camera and went, I got no idea what I'm doing.
No.
I like it when that happens. So then Bruno and Kyla explained what they were doing, which is it is a 600-year-old recipe. It's an enriched dough, and it features chocolate in the middle.
Bit of a retro
It's an interesting one.
Retro.
Because as I said, you've got to get the couple of different techniques.
Vintage. It's a vintage bake.
You've got to get a couple of techniques right with this. You've got to obviously be able to make the dough.
Yep.
You've got to be able to put the two parts of it together and have it seamlessly stick together.
You've got to be able to slap it good.
And you've got to be able to push the chocolate into the right part.
Finger the tet properly.
Always helps to finger the tet properly, but you've got to be able to get the chocolate. You've got to be able to get the chocolate the right depth within the actual brioche.
Yeah, you want to get that chocolate deep in the tet.
Yeah, right in the tet, right in the middle of the tet, deep in the tet. But it's also got to be sealed off because that way it doesn't bubble up. So
otherwise, you'll get leaky tets.
Don't want leaky tets. Because we get to look. You've been desperate to get here, so we're here now.
Here with the tets.
Bring on the butter. It's time for slap and fold.
It is. It is. So it sounded like, I don't know, a BDSM time in the pavilion, and there was just a lot of thwacking on the benches, and everyone's got different styles of thwacking. Like, if you look at, it's Christina, isn't it? Ukrainian girl.
Natalia.
Oh, just rename
Remember,
her.
Kristie renames everybody.
I rename everyone. Okay. So she slapped it 3 times and then folded it. It's like, ooh, that's been a naughty brioche. But Liam slapped his into life. Like, part of it just became animated and flew off.
Well, as Liam said, I've been slapping it for a while. And
I guess if you slap it for too long, it falls off.
And at that point, his bread did develop its own whimsy and flew away.
Yes. Jodie slapped hers in half.
Yes, Jodie did slap hers in half.
Ooh,
it was quite interesting. There was some robust slapping happening. It was a fascinating couple of people. Oh, I like this. I like doing this. This is fun.
I think someone in the back was probably just giving you a little tickle as well.
Slap and tickle?
A bit of slap and tickle.
Yeah, so Liam then also cut back because Liam was then talking about putting it all together, and he goes, well, I've been making my large balls for a while now. You sure have.
Balls.
So they put it all together, and at that point we started playing the waiting game.
Yep, staring at an oven.
The waiting game sucks. Let's play Hungry Hungry Hippos. So my favourite part of this whole challenge was when they Colin pulled his ones out. And he gets the big cookie sheet.
Pulled his balls out.
He gets the big cookie sheet and he starts fanning frantically.
Colin
and he looks at the camera.
Fans his tits.
And he looks at the camera and he goes, I'm going to do this because, well, they always do this on the show.
Got a fan on the show, love it.
And then later on, Jodie was doing it, but she was actually earnestly doing it, going, cool, my pretties, cool. So the judges.
Wicked Witch of the Wet Tets.
So when they came out to do the judging, so Chris...
I'll get you and your little pups too.
So Chris, they said they'd popped up quite well. Good flavour. Colin's, they just looked at Colin's and they didn't even really critique it. They just went, this is a baker that clearly understood the process. They said it was very good. Jasmine's, they said, unfortunately, were quite dry.
She added a bit too much flour to hers.
Yeah, Jay, they said you could see that it wasn't pushed down properly. It hadn't gone down far enough, so it was all up near the top.
Yeah.
But the flavour was quite good. They said that Liam had difficulties in the top. Notice his big ball was fine. He'd spent a long time working on those. Difficulties in the top. He didn't put any sugar on top as well to crystallise. And the bake itself was very tight, so he hadn't slapped it enough.
No, just you've got to tighten your slaps there.
Yes.
You know.
Andrea, they said the flavour was too weak, and once again, dry.
I told you she's just missing the ocean. Her mermaid queendom is like...
Yeah, I'm starting to think we missed... Again, I'm starting to think they released her into the wild. It wasn't so much that they sent her home for bad baking. They just released her.
And the lake's freshwater, and I don't think that could actually...
No, I think she needed to go to the coast.
She needed salt water.
She needed to go to the coast. Jodie, they said there was a bit of separation. They said there was some good flavour, but it was underbaked, unfortunately. Natalia's, they said, was a beautiful bake. Now, with the judging and the point scoring, Liam came 8th, Jasmine came 7th, Jay was 6th, Andrea 5th, which was interesting when you get to the end. Chris was 4th, Jodie was 3rd. Natalia, who they just said was a beautiful bake, was 2nd, and Colin was 1st. And the reason why Colin was 1st was that they said Natalia's only problem was there was a couple of them that weren't consistent.
Yeah, she poked a few balls, but then squished them down.
A couple of them have poked up further than others.
Colin poked his balls.
Yeah, and again, his had all popped up and hers had only half popped up.
Yeah. Colin knows how to handle his balls.
Yes, exactly. So, showstopper.
It really showed in the presentation of his tits.
It did indeed. So the showstopper.
Showstopper.
So the showstopper was a bread sculpture. We've seen the bread sculpture many times.
I'm a big fan of the bread sculpture.
We've seen it many times, and I always like a good bread sculpture. I mean, probably the best bread sculpture ever done is the
my snail. When I went to Demeter's Bakery back in the 80s, and I made a bread snail.
The best one that people have seen is the lion on British Bake Off.
I'm sorry, I did my snail back in the day before Instagram, where I could have Insta-posted my snail.
I can't help it that I wasn't at Demeter's Bakery. Is that what it was?
Yeah, in Glebe.
Sure. I wasn't there.
I know.
You know what? A mass global audience has seen the lion on British.
Okay, fair enough.
Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Thought so.
Maybe I'll have to recreate it.
So
I thought it was awfully clever.
4 hours and 30 minutes to do this challenge. You didn't have that long in Demeter's Bakery, did you?
Don't know. Time was like a strange concept to me. I was
You were a child.
I was a child.
So
What felt like a year was usually a 5-minute drive.
Exactly.
You know?
So Kyla said that she wanted people to shine. Meanwhile,
Gave themselves permission to shine.
Canadians, you don't get that. Meanwhile,
Emma Rosie, yeah. Sang a song for the Olympics back in 2000. Permission to shine. Okay, enough, otherwise we'll get sued.
yeah, we will. Meanwhile, Liam, when she's saying she wants people to shine,
That's right.
you right there? You right there?
No, because I've lost it.
I'll give you a minute.
No, it's just
I'll give you a minute.
go, because I will keep laughing.
Nope. You're going to get through this. Go. Nope. So, no. So, Liam wasn't shining. Let's just put it that way, shall we? Because poor Kristie's lost it. She's lost. Andrea, however, had a white powder issue. So, I have to work out why Andrea sniffed the flower.
Because why not?
But when she came up, her nose was white.
I think she was trying to do some mermaid magic on it.
I thought that as a mermaid, she's never done cocaine. And she's like...
Because it dissolves in the water.
And, she's like, well, I need to try... Maybe this white powder is the same. And, put her head down in the bag. Was like, that's starchy.
I presume if she goes swimming in Sydney Harbour, she'll have done cocaine. I presume...
Even if you don't want to. Even if you really...
Is 30% cocaine.
Even if you really don't want to.
Yeah.
So, Jay... Jay made his butterfly. You know why?
Because he's a butterfly?
Because nobody suspects the butterfly. But... What was interesting about Jay's, a couple of things interesting about it. First of all, you had to use two different breads. So he used a rosemary fougasse. Now, fougasse, of course, was introduced to us in British Bake Off. One, as a technical challenge.
Yeah.
And two, far more importantly, as a snack that is taken to the movies.
Just by Tom.
I don't understand how he, just pulls the fougasse out.
Look, can I just have a small popcorn, choc top, and a
And
fougasse?
a herb fougasse, yes.
Thank you.
So
Like
Jay made a...
Yes, I'll have some spumante to go with my fougasse.
So rosemary fougasse was what Jay made with a turmeric and tahini challah. Mm-hmm. So that was an interesting combination, the turmeric and tahini. Interesting combo. Mm-hmm. When they get to the judging, as they said, the tahini didn't quite work.
Didn't come through. There wasn't enough.
You know whose did work?
But the colour was beautiful.
You know whose did work?
Whose?
Colin's.
Oh,
King crab.
Oh, Jesus Christ! He made it out of a challah, right? Is it
challah? Yeah, challah and
which is a Jewish bread.
Yes.
And from what I understand, Jewish people can't eat shellfish,
but they can eat this.
They can eat this. It's like Jewish-friendly crab, unless you're a gluten intolerant
it's a Jewish
person.
cheat code. So pretzel legs. Now, at this point, Colin...
Down for your pretzel legs.
At this point,
tasty.
Colin talked about the idea of the zodiac being part of it. Mm-hmm. And he said, because I'm a Cancer, but I don't really read my horoscope. So that, in other words, was a pointless backstory.
Just send me your dates, Colin. I'll do your chart. I'm not very good at reading it, but I'll do your chart for you.
She'll do one. Now, Liam did the birdcage, so obviously he thought about the club scene at the end, or possibly the infamous Robin Williams doing all the different styles of dance. Fussy Fussy 1, Fussy Fussy 2, Uganda. It's like I was hopeful, and then he was actually making bird cake.
But we got
a couple of things. First of all, why do 2 breads well when you can do 3 breads and an average mate?
And a butterbird.
And a butterbird.
Called Bernard.
Yeah, so we'll come to Bernard, because Bernard is the real hero. He did rosemary potato focaccia, there was a rosemary potato bread, focaccia, pretzels, but it was all about Bernard the butterbird.
Oh, yeah, I really hope he didn't get eaten. I hope he still survives.
What I really enjoyed about
frozen and preserved.
What I really enjoyed too here was when they asked him about it, and he goes, "Oh no!" I said, "Oh, there's no recipe for this. There's no recipe for this one." He goes, "No, I can make it up as I go along, and I've tried it before, so that's something."
Oh, Liam. You're just a wondrous person to watch on TV.
Liam.
It's like Liam's Magical Mystery Tour tonight.
And from Liam's Magical Mystery Tour, or Liam in Big,
yes,
we go to, I've been waiting for this. Now, when we were going to record the other night in the hotel, my biggest disappointment was that I wasn't going to be able to do the next bit. Because
it was 11 p.m.
It was 11 o'clock at night, and it would be far too loud.
My sister and her kids were 2 doors down.
Yeah, so it would be far too loud in the hotel. But even though it's late here, I can do this. It's Pretzelmania! Come see Calgary Rye! Pretzel! Whole wheat honey! It's Pretzelmania! I'm Vince McMahon! No. So Jodie obviously made Pretzelmania in honour of her husband, the wrestler.
Thrillin' Dylan.
Thrillin' Dylan. Yeah,
yes.
I know. I can't see why he hasn't been snapped up by a major promotion yet. Jodie, you need to be his manager. You need to seriously come out as his manager.
We need to rename him. What could we call him?
We'll work that out.
Baker Boy. Oh, no, that's an Australian singer.
That doesn't really sound good. I'll come up with something. I'll put it out to the audience. If you've got anything, hit us up on the Twitter. Let us know what you think his new wrestling name should be if you were going to go for WWE or AEW or one of those big companies. Yeah. Anyway, Jasmine decided to make a panda. Now, there are a couple of ways you could go with this. Now, she could have used cheese, and she could have then recreated the panda cheese commercials.
Why?
Because they are the greatest commercials ever made. Have you seen the panda cheese commercial?
No. Oh, is that the one with the keyboard and it smashes?
Yeah, Don't Trust Panda.
Oh, yes. Okay,
when the panda, my favourite one of those panda ones is the pizza one is good, where he smashes the flour everywhere. That's really good and appropriate for baking. But it's the one where he walks into the supermarket and they don't have it in the trolley, so he tips the whole trolley over. If you've not seen these people, go online and just type in panda cheese commercial. You're welcome. So her panda actually did contain cheese. It was Parmesan bread.
There we go.
It wasn't panda cheese though. And pumpernickel.
Yum.
Pumpernickel with grissini.
And charcoal. Pro tip, people on medications that are vital to your life, like keep you regulated, whatever. Careful of this, this activated charcoal trend, particularly now because it's Halloween everywhere. And so people are dyeing stuff black with charcoal. That actually counteracts your medication because you're given that when you have an overdose. So
try not to. Don't charcoal on up.
Not too much charcoal. Just
Pro tip. Andrea made
a little bit, like the panda, just the ears. It's cool.
Andrea made grissini and sweet bread with a whole wheat vase.
Yeah, liked it.
Didn't go well, but liked the idea. And Chris made a cardamom challah, za'atar, and seaweed fugasse.
I'm down for it, and it was a mermaid.
Because he gratefully decided that he needed to make all of our breads unpronounceable. Natalia went with her Ukrainian, which I loved. And then what I really loved was she went with the korovai, which is the Ukrainian wedding bread.
Yes.
And then
we've seen that made in Great British, I think.
I think we have.
Yeah.
And then also there was poppy as well.
Yeah, that was
really nice.
And it was a work of art. That was just so beautiful.
Yeah, and so we got... It was interesting. There were a lot of bakers still, and there's a lot of big things going on, but they didn't show us a lot of the actual baking.
Yeah.
There was a lot of setting it up, and by the time they set it up, it was almost done.
Yeah, but that's because we're still, we're only 3 episodes in.
I know.
There's a lot of bakers going on and not enough time.
It's why I always feel like sculpture should be a bit later on, because you want to have more time. So, for example, we had Aurora go over to Jasmine. She said, I'm seeing tiny panda parts all over here. Now, Jasmine, of course, as we know, has a criminology background.
Yeah, and I would have liked to have seen her just keep the panda disassembled, create a bit of a dirt thing. So you know how they have the forensic gardens. Like, you can donate your body to science, and then people can, like, scientifically measure you as you decompose. Just like that kind of thing, like a panda graveyard.
See, I would have had chalk outlines. And, you know, she did the blood in that first cake. I would have had that Jew come back again. And a panda massacre.
Yeah, like bamboo weapons.
Now, we do have to ask, though...
Kung Fu Panda went postal.
We do have to ask Aurora, though. Are you panda-phobic? Because there was a comment, she's like, is it one of those cute pandas or... ... What do you mean, or?
Pandas are cute. When are pandas ever not cute?
Well, pandas are apparently very fussy with their mating. An ugly panda is an ugly panda.
Here's the thing. No. Pandas are dumb. Like, they really are.
I know, 100%. When we're talking about natural selection in terms of why animals go extinct, the panda is an example. I know that we've also impacted the habitat, but the panda is an example of an animal that is almost doing it to itself a little bit.
Yeah.
And as they said, you know, what they've tried to do with pandas in captivity now in China is they spray the pheromones of the really attractive pandas on the ones that the pandas consider ugly and back them in.
I feel so sad for the ugly pandas. Like,
don't we all? But again, how dumb are you where it's like mate or die and you're going, I'm thinking, all right? I haven't worked this out yet. I've got a busy day.
I've got bamboo to chew.
Apparently there's some bamboo.
I've got shit to fall off. I've got, like, my life to put in jeopardy.
Exactly. And this thing backing in here right now that's willing, and...
It's not like The Simpsons.
And it smells good, but... looks not deceiving, apparently. Anyway, Jay's butterfly.
Yep.
There were a couple of things. First of all, this look of sadness on Jay's face
when the wings
fell, and he looked just like, it didn't work.
Oh, Jay.
But to make up for it, he did get a good laugh out of the fact that it suddenly had an overbite.
Yes. I don't know if in real life, like, can butterflies have an overbite? Do they have a natural overbite?
Maybe they do.
Oh, no, they don't. They have, like, little suckers that just suck the nectar. They're just little... It's like a little tongue thing, just...
You are, of course, the queen of butterflies as well.
Yes, I am.
You have many titles.
I have so many things.
Your podcast business card must be huge. Is it a full role?
Less of a business card and more that I have a town crier come out.
I know that.
Like Daenerys, like breaker of chains.
I know that. Like the first time I met you had someone who came out with trumpets. I mean, it was part of the lure, I'm not going to lie.
I was walking down the stairs at the Art Gallery Cafe.
Always wanted someone with their own trumpets. Anyway, and again, we've got the last moment of Liam being the embodiment of big, where he simply looked at the camera and went, I can build things. Now, you know where Liam can go if he wants to build things?
Lego?
Better. Australian Sugarcraft magazine.
Yes,
if you're looking for a quality magazine focused on things like cake decorating, sugar art, maybe bread, who knows, Australian Sugarcraft is definitely the magazine for you.
And we have a special guest.
We do indeed.
Hello, I'm Sing Sing the Panda. In the mid-80s, I came out to Australia and had a beautiful time, but now I spend my days baking, and I like to do sugarcraft. So I've combined two of my favourite things, Australia and sugarcraft, together, and I found the Australian Sugarcraft magazine. It's great value. Tell them all about it. Zai
Bye. Oh my God, how the hell did you get a panda?
I'm full of surprises.
It's a full-colour digital magazine with step-by-step tutorials, recipes, tips, and ideas. Subscription is an annual cost of only $19.90. You get 2 issues per year. Right, it is a really good value. There's lots of great tips. You know, it's
particularly good for ugly pandas.
Ugly pandas love it. Apparently,
they've got nothing to do, no one to do.
If you want to find out more, go to facebook.com/Australian Sugarcraft. So let's get to the judging. So, Jay, they said the dough had a pocket which impacted the build,
but it was great. For, like, if he's Peter Pie afterwards.
That's it. It's a pitter. Like, and again, all I had, Simpsons in my head, all I had was the idea of, Jay bunching through the Fleet of Peter sign.
And if Liam has some leftover chicken mince from yesterday. Oh, fillings to go.
Sandwiches. Oh, the crew could have eaten well, like kings. The flavour was really good in the rosemary, but the tahini not so much. Jasmine's, they said it looked amazing, but it was slightly overbaked. But they then said the flavour was also pretty good.
Yep.
Chris, they said the fougasse was good, but the challah was too dry. Now, Colin, the only criticism they had, because they said the detail was just incredible, and that crab shell, the way he did that crab shell was spectacular.
Yep.
The legs were awesome. Bruno's only complaint was it needed more garlic.
Look, I am a Frenchman. If there is not like garlic pouring out of it into my face.
I should be French.
You are, aren't you?
With the level of garlic I eat.
Buchanan?
With the level of garlic I eat, I really should be French.
But not Italian.
So
if
definitely
you like Italian, it means you
apparently.
hate French.
Apparently. So Liam, now Kyla was very happy and said, now that looks like a showstopper. They were very impressed with Bernard.
Yes.
My favourite, I want the photo of Bruno holding Bernard.
It's just so
because it was so lovingly too. He was like holding Bernard in such a caring manner.
When you anthropomorphise, food,
I wonder,
it's very difficult to...
I wonder if Bruno has caught on to the fact that Liam wished he was big. And maybe he's just humouring him now. Maybe
he's like the guy at the toy factory.
Yeah, he's got to be.
They're about to do a duet together on the big piano.
Big piano, exactly. So they said the focaccia needed some oil, but the flavour itself was excellent. Jodie, they said it looked fun. The rye was really good. The flavour was good.
Nice and earthy.
I did love the fact that her husband's wrestling trunks had become like bikini briefs, and the way that she had him stuck to the corner post jumping off was incredible. Andrea admitted that, again, she was scared of bread. They said that now you need to use this as a basis to not be scared of bread, but then sent her home off the back of it. So you do the phobia.
Look, we'll leave that to the psychologists. That's not for the pavilion.
They went, you need to use this as a jumping off point and no longer fear bread, and then told her that it was raw and flavourless.
Aww.
I wonder why she fears bread.
That's okay. She's back in her mermaid queendom now, so exactly. I'm okay about
Natalia, they said it looks great. Now, this was interesting because Natalia... First of all, they said the bread needed more salt, and then they challenged her to try something a bit bolder. They were like, your flavours are very basic, you need to do something a bit more bold.
Just bolder flavours.
So the star baker was Colin, and there was absolutely no disagreement there. Yep. It was absolutely perfect. And Andrea went home, and look, it was the right call, but as Jay said, I dodged a bullet there.
A big mermaid-coloured bullet there, Jay.
And we absolutely love Andrea, and she's been so cool.
We'll miss her from the tent. It was like losing Z last week.
From the pavilion.
Pavilion. Oh, sorry.
It's like losing Z in Australian Bake Off. So from the shed. So
the shed.
Got to keep them all in line.
So much sadness.
There has been, but there's been so much joy too, because there's been quality baking, there's been quality judging, there's been quality hosting. It's been a quality week of Bake Off.
I know. I love Aurora Carolyn.
At this time of year. At this time of day, localised entirely in this pavilion.
May I see it?
Of course you can. They're on Bake Off. So that's been your episode.
See more. The pavilion's on fire.
No, Mother. It's just the host of the show. So that's your Canadian Bake Off for this week. Now, we will be back possibly early this week. There's no confirmation on that. If not, definitely back on Thursday Australian time for the second episode of the Great Australian Bake Off.
Yep.
And then some point very close to that afterwards for the fourth episode of the Great Canadian BakeFf.
Oh, so much Bake Off.
We are having so much fun interacting with everyone. Thank you very much for listening. It's been a really good week for Bake Off stuff. And so we will hopefully see you all very soon. And until then, I'm still Chris.
And I'm still Kristie.
And we'll catch you all later.
Pervy titzer.